The day that somebody knows or you give somebody that power to have that influence over your relationship is the day that that relationship becomes a threesome, a foursome, or otherwise.
What you're giving, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a...
Hello viewers and subscribers, morning. Welcome again to Truth with Alex. You know, of course, I'm Alex, yeah. And everybody by now knows that my motto is no credentials, no qualifications. Just the mere fact that we're speaking from experience and the experience of others, yeah. And that is good sometimes, you know. The textbook thing not always works, so yeah. Anyways, this morning I think I have a very interesting topic, yeah. I've been doing a lot of relationship-based videos since recently. But then again, one would have to agree that a lot of the issues that we're having now is as a result of relationships. Mostly the ones that have gone bad. You understand? But the thing about it is that I'd like to explore, right? Even though it's sort of hard, but I would still like to talk about the fact that we can come together, we can decide to come together as a unit, right? And the manner in which that is done is good, right? In the sense that you and somebody decide that you're going to be a team, you're going to be in a relationship, right? And it starts off good, right? So everything is good, right? Everybody is in love, everybody wants to progress, everybody wants to see what the other has to offer. Everybody wants to see what will become of the union. And that is good, right? That is how good things usually start, right? But my question is, when it reaches a point or a stage where they say that all good things come to an end, it's not necessarily true, because it depends on how soon you want that to come to an end, or how much you want it to come to an end. That will determine if it comes to an end or not. But despite that, the fact is, when that time comes, that end comes, we see that we understand that a lot of times relationships end on the worst note, right? And I mean, it's practical to understand and to think that if you're in a relationship and it's gonna end, it usually ends because somebody did something to offend the other person. So technically that's it. Somebody usually does something to offend the other person, and it is and to them it may be at a point where it is unresolvable, which is fine as well. But the tension that we leave each other with, right? The disgust, the despise, and that leads to several things thereafter in the post relationship, right? Persons are gonna try to defame each other's character, right? Say nasty stuff about each other, nasty stuff, whether it is true or not, right? But I do not think that it is relevant at the time, because when you think about it, you know, one on the outside is going to ask his or herself, if it is that the relationship was so bad, essentially, why is it that it lasted for the time that it did? You understand? Because things, I would understand, it doesn't really happen overnight, right? Nothing happens overnight. Everything happens in a sequential order, right? Everything happens over a period of time. And as a person in a relationship, you are able to identify and observe changes, right? And that is good, right? Because it shows that you are paying attention, right? That we are paying attention to each other. We are paying attention to how we communicate, to how we deal with each other, right? To how we sense each other's emotions and feelings in the relationship, right? The note on bad endings is not so much good, right? We can leave, right? And we do not have to leave in a manner where it is going to be a death sentence for either person, right? Where the other person is going to make it their point of duty to have the other person's life miserable, despite what was done, if it was cheating, you know, all the things that would make a relationship go sour. You understand? But I think that a man should be a man to the end, and a woman should be a woman or a lady to the end. You understand? Because at the end of the day, who will it benefit? Right? When I try to destroy you and you try to destroy me, when technically and logically all we have to do is move on. You understand? Moving on may not be as easy, and a lot of times in a relationship, when it goes bad, sometimes the parties don't want to move on. You understand? Somebody within the relationship wants to have things resolved, right? But you see, sometimes we're too big and we're too bold and we're too proud sometimes to sit and talk, right? When all we need to do is to sit and talk. A lot of times things happen, right? And we find ourselves in positions and disagreements will have to. Yeah, we have to confront these things. They're just a part of us, like the Bible, right? Disagreements, you know, but it is always a matter of how these things are confronted and dealt with. You understand? That will determine how we move on thereafter. You understand? So I think what I would do if we have a discussion or if we have a disagreement, right? There's always that initial argument, right? And then I try sometimes to keep the argument general, right? In the sense that I do not make personal attacks on my spouse. And I would suspect that everybody would do the same thing, because you don't want post-argument somebody is hurting so much that it cannot change. You understand? So we want to keep the argument in an argument state, right? So we're arguing about something that she did, or we're arguing about something that I did, and we keep it on that topic, right? I don't need to go outside now and say you did this in your last relationship, or you did this 13 years ago, or you did this last few months. It is not relevant at that point in time, because if you did something a few weeks ago, a few months ago, then I think that we would have discussed that and we moved on. You understand? To make any sense, we try and revitalize old issues, right? Instead of confront, and in an effort to try to confront new issues that we are faced with. It doesn't make any sense. You understand? So what we need to do is to confront the situation at hand, right? So when we try to take ourselves now out of the scope of the situation that is here, then we have a lot of new problems arising. You understand? And that's what we don't want, right? We wouldn't want that, because then what is going to happen is that we're going to stray from the point. We're going to stray from what we need, or we were talking about initially, and we're going to go dig up back some old stuff, right? And then we're going to say to each other, now, you know what, G's and P's, I thought we did finish with that part of it, and obviously we were. You understand? So this now becomes another issue, and then it goes on and on and around and around. You understand? So it's pretty straightforward, I guess. You understand? If it is that it can be resolved by us just talking to each other, then I think that is the best way to go, right? Before we leave. But if it is that we cannot reach to some amicable solution where it satisfies both parties, then the best way to probably get around to doing that is probably just to separate. You understand? And with the whole separation process, we understand that it may be very emotional sometimes, depending on who the persons are, how long they've been together, how much they shared. All of those things automatically become factors, right, as it relates to how persons deal with it. You understand? But What we don't want, right, is for persons to drop, right? To drop the whole, you know, I would want, for myself, I'd want to remember things on the best note possible, even if we were to separate on the worst note possible. You understand? And I don't mean as it relates to the arguing. I mean as it relates to the reason why we're gonna separate, right? But at the end of the day, we ought to be able to speak and we say, you know what, it's not gonna work out because this here is a problem that I do not think that we are capable of fixing, and as such, I think that it is best that we go our separate ways, right? I don't think it have to end with who usually do this and who usually do that and who was always incapable of doing this and who did always give who bun and who and who for friend this and who for friend tell them that and one heap or something where you would have said it existed prior to the whole breaking up scenario, and then this is when it all comes out. You understand? Which leads me to another point again. If you are having issues in your relationship, you understand? Try to deal with the issues, because regardless of who helped you put the relationship together, as in the two persons, it would be you and your spouse, right, that decide whether or not you're gonna be together. So don't allow persons on the outside to have too much influence inside the relationship. The day that somebody knows or you give somebody that power to have that influence over your relationship is the day that that relationship becomes a threesome, a foursome, or otherwise. You understand? Where you need approval or disapproval from that person in order to move on with your relationship. Who does that? What sense that make? Yeah? You're in a relationship with a person. You're not in a relationship with the person. Father, mother, sister, brother, close friend, relative. No. I mean, whatever issues may befall us, you know. You understand? We're going to have to deal with it. Because it doesn't mean that because an issue is there, right, between us, that means a third party is necessary. The more we can solve our internal issues, is the better off we're going to be as a couple. You understand? The less we need external intervention, is the better off we are at dealing with our situation. You understand? And then we now become capable, right, and knowledgeable, so that we can tell and speak to others about how to possibly get through certain things. You understand? But I don't know how the teamwork thing work out. It's like some people have some relationship with a tag team. You understand? Some problems start happen, then tag them friend and them say, you come deal with this. Right? And then the friend now who don't have a clue most of the times about how you relate to each other, how you think about each other, then come and then probably just make things worse. Absolutely worse. Sometimes worse to such a point that you don't even know how you're going to fix it back. You as the person that invited the second help, you know, you now are left in such a peculiar position of how the hell am I going to fix this back? Because of the damage that this person who was supposed to be a helping hand come and create. Right? The best set of helping hands is at the end of your own arm. You understand? Your own hands. Be the hands-on person in your own life. You understand? Don't allow persons. You can have a good friend, you know, a very close friend or family member, whichever the case may be. Right? Experienced and knowledgeable. Right? You're having a situation. I'm not saying that you can't ask for help. Nobody's too big or too young or whatever to ask for genuine help. Right? You can ask on behalf of the situation. What would you do? Right? What do you suggest? Right? And then you listen. Right? You listen. And it is then up to you to decide, right, whether or not you want to pursue the suggestions. Right? Or you want to listen to whatever it was that the person said. If it makes sense to you, then why not? Right? Makes sense, it makes sense. And then you can be the applicator of all of this in your relationship. So therefore, nobody can come and nobody can say them did this or them did that. No. Everybody asks for help. The perfect person does, right? Or the person that appears to be perfect, right? The very least that the majority do. Everybody does it. So it's not unique to any one person. You understand? So all of these now are just points that will help you to propel your relationship. Not our relationship, you know. Not the entire community relationship, you know. Not the entire the entire clan of friends or the group of friends. No. It's not gonna work like that. Unless it is an understood relationship where that is how you guys associate with each other. Then if that's it, then that's it. I can't say anything about it. You understand? It's just a matter of what the agreement is between you and yours. Yeah, pretty much straightforward. Try to be the best manager of your own life as best as possible, because when you get persons to start helping you to manage, you probably figure out and see that you start living a life similar to theirs. And can you imagine if that life is not a life that you admire? Imagine the predicament you're gonna be in. Yeah. But all in all, I hope that we can gain the courage, you know, and the maturity, if that's it, to leave on a note, or to leave each other, right, each other's space on good terms, right? Doesn't hurt anybody to leave with the same amount of respect that we started with. You understand? At the end of everything, you can see me on the road and you don't talk to me, and I can see you on the road and I don't talk to you. Natural, because the fact that we were in a relationship, it went bad, does not necessarily mean that we would still be friends, you know. But a lot of persons can keep the friendship afterwards. Kudos to them. You understand? That's a different level of maturity. That's a different level of understanding. You understand? That is sort of similar to a relationship that had a child as a product of the relationship. So you know that the mother separate from the dad, and you know the child is between both parents. And then you have to, for the sake of the child, you understand, you have to remain at least friends, right? So as to keep the psychological and emotional effects of the separation away from the child. You understand? So it is possible. And you don't have to wait until a child is the product of the relationship. It is possible. Because the same level of maturity that we can use at that point in time, we can use otherwise. That is what I think. You understand? So it's all a matter of how we deal with the thing. It's all a matter of how much energy we put into it, right? But I do think that we all have the capacity to do it. Yeah? And having the capacity and actually executing that is gonna be good, because then we're going to beg of others to learn how to do this, and so it is going to be less violent. You understand? A whole lot less violent for all persons who decide that they're gonna be in a relationship. Because if we adopt these types of principles now, then persons will look on and see and say, well, you know, it's not all that bad, because X and Y were together and now they're no longer together, and look at them, you know, respect for each other. They don't talk as they usually do, you know, or they talk like, you know, the friends or whatever, but it is still there. She now go see me a pass with my new girlfriend, and I go, you know, I go say some things when are really necessary or when are really true, because a lot of times that is what happens. Right? You're going to say some things for hurt the other person, and dirty boy and the dirty girl there, you know, she can't cook, he can't have sex properly, all sorts of something. You understand? To sort of have the person feel as small as possible. No, we don't need to do that. You understand? You allow him to move on, he allows you to move on. And that's just what happens. You move on. Because if you see her down the road with her new boyfriend and you try to, how is it gonna benefit you? Because the guy could just be a guy who don't care. No business where you want to say, because them say when they what you say? The fox or the something that can't get the grape, him say it's so. Yes. And so she can't be all that bad because you were with her. So how you cuss her now? Well, you know, that's the practicality, right? So, I know everybody think about it that way, but that's the way it is. You understand? So, people, brothers and sisters, we have several ways in which we can deal with things. Let us deal with it the same way we started it out, right? On a good note. You understand? Again, I want to say thank you guys for viewing and subscribing. Yes, I really appreciate the support, and I will have plenty videos coming out to suit your taste buds. So continue to follow me on Facebook, Truth with Alex, right? And on my YouTube page. And I also have a Instagram account, Truth with Alex nonetheless. So please pay attention to it there, and you will be updated as updates need to be done. I encourage also that you guys comment, right? Yes, we're thinking about having an interactive session one of these times. So comment on topics that you'd like to hear me speak about, right? Or just comment in general. I still appreciate it. Like again and subscribe, and please do not forget to share. Until we meet again, Truth with Alex out.